Welcome to Business Minds. I'm Cindy Bird. I'm a business owner, an educator, and a thinking partner with a passion for helping businesses and people thrive. Thank you so much for choosing to join our program today, where we're continuing with a theme of the growing pains of startups. I've been telling everyone that I'm a gardener. May kicks off for me the growing season. I love helping people and businesses grow, and I love helping my garden grow. But there are some challenges along the way when you're a gardener, like no rain. So I was very thankful for the blessing of some good rain yesterday. At least where I live, my garden's got a good drink of water, and that's very helpful. But the growing pains of businesses can be unique. There are some that are probably common across a lot of small business startups, but each business is just a little bit different and a little bit unique. And I'm so excited to welcome my special guest this morning,
Hello.
Michelle Bohm. Michelle is the founder of Inspired Style Company Salon and Boutique in Pekin, Illinois. Been in business now for
A year. We'll celebrate our year next week.
next week. So perfect timing, celebrating that 1 year anniversary. And I remember coming to your grand opening, and it was just such a fun day, and so happy for the fact that you established the business and got it up and running. So help our viewers know a little bit more about Inspired Style, why you started the business, what services you offer, anything you want to share.
Well, it's kind of funny. I'm not a hairstylist, nor have I ever had any experience. I don't even hang out in salons. But almost 2 years ago, I was inspired to do this. I had closed another business, and I was waiting, looking, seeking, just waiting for an answer. And I was in a salon one day, and it hit me. This is what I'm supposed to do. So that spark of inspiration grew over about a year and a half till I kind of figured out what it was supposed to be. I happened upon a location in Pekin that I wasn't even looking for. And so I said, okay, I'm inspired. Here we go. And it's hard to believe it's been a year since we opened. It's been fast and furious. I think it was you or maybe somebody else had told me opening a new business is like being a new mom. That first year. Oh, that first year is tough.
Yeah.
But it is. It's exciting and exhausting, just like being a new mom. And this is my third child that I've loved to see grow and develop over the first year. I'm excited for what's coming. The next, 12 to 18 months are going to be super exciting for us. So we're in a really good place right now.
That's wonderful. So you were inspired to start this, and there are a lot of salons and boutiques out
Right.
there, but what's unique about Inspired Style?
Well, honestly, I think it'll be our team. We're still growing
Okay.
over the first year. My passion, my driving force is inspiring. No, it is developing amazing entrepreneurs. And I
Okay.
saw my expertise in team building and relationship building and connecting with people and personal development was needed in this industry, and something that I could use those skills to develop really incredible team and really incredible employees that could provide these amazing services to our guests. If I build the team, the business will build itself
Okay.
by developing that team.
I love that approach. And I know you're not just a salon. Obviously, the name is Salon and Boutique.
Right.
So what are some of the services that you offer?
Everything you would expect from a typical upscale salon, all hair services. We are still looking for a nail technician, but we can do gel polish and manicures. We hired an esthetician, so we can do all the facials and body waxing and facial waxing, all of that. She's incredible. And I wasn't looking, but we found an amazing massage therapist. So we are quickly becoming a full-service spa salon and boutique.
Fantastic.
But yeah, everything you would expect from a typical salon. And then the boutique part of it is all things that have a story, all
Okay.
things that inspire me. So every product in there, not only is it ethically sourced and all of those things that are important to me, it has a story with it. So a handbag is not just a handbag. It's a friend of mine that is an entrepreneur in Utah and has this amazing story behind it, because I think everything that we see and touch should inspire us.
I love that you are so true to what you're passionate about. And your face just lights up. When you talk about your business and you talk about your passions, it's very clear.
It's like talking about my children.
It is. Well, because it is it is not only like having a child, but it's nurturing that child, of course, every step of the way because you care so deeply.
And not knowing what it's going to become. You
Uh-huh.
don't always know when they're
You don't
what
always
they're
know.
going to be when they grow up.
Right, those growing pains.
Yeah,
We're using
right?
that analogy in many ways. I can see that for sure. So, what are those growing pains that you've experienced with your business, Michelle?
Well, my first growing pain, and probably the one that I struggle with the most, is setting up the systems that I know I need in order to free up my time and my brain space to do the things that I really should be focusing on. So systems like, inventory management, accounting, all of those things that I need to create and I know are so important. And if I do them right now, I can scale a lot faster. The problem is that is not something I enjoy doing. It's not my strength. So that's been probably my most difficult growing pain.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about that. I've prepared some coaching notes for you, and there's a spot on there for you to jot down some additional ideas that we come up with today or that we share together. But I start with encouraging you to ask a couple of questions. And the first question is, which of those systems is most critical to creating and delivering value for your customers? Knowing that all of the systems that a business sets up should create and deliver value to the customers. Can you look at which ones are the most critical? And what I would encourage you to do would be to rank order them. So let's just do that right now.
Okay.
Let's try it. Out of those ones that you mentioned that maybe are not complete or they're not fully in place yet, what's the most critical, do you think, to help you create and deliver value?
Most critical is probably the salon software in order to be able to manage appointments, book appointments, be able to do that online, on an
Okay.
app efficiently.
Okay.
I want to develop our own app so that people can just book their appointment right from their phone. That's how I like to do it. Everything.
Everything's that way a lot, right?
So having that for customer experience is probably number one. Number two would probably be financial, making sure that I have all the reports that I need to be able to identify strengths and weaknesses
Okay.
and key performance indicators. That's probably my least favorite thing to look at. But again, having that reporting would probably be second. And then third, most likely, human resources type, creating documents and policies and procedures and all of those
All
kind
of
of
those
things.
things. Okay. Well, those three that you mentioned, I would encourage your next step then to be, now that you've ranked them, go back and assess the completeness of each one. So actually mapping out, what do you want that system to include, but then mapping out how complete is it right now?
Right.
Is it in progress or not even started at all? Because obviously that makes a difference in how much time and effort and energy you devote to that particular system. The thing that I want to remind you and remind viewers too, that when you have anything like that you need to do for your business, it's going to be a distraction because it's an open loop. That's what it represents. So I'm going to show this to the camera and to you. What do you want to do with that naturally?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to close it. And so psychologically, our brain is focused on that open loop, and we're distracted by it, even though we don't think we are consciously. We're subconsciously distracted by it. So if you can create a plan, system by system, for even closing loops within that individual plan. So you have a plan for implementing your salon software. So start closing some loops along the way. It's somewhat a checklist, okay, done. And so you're closing those loops, and then there's that sense of accomplishment that we get when that happens, right? And then you move on to the next one. Now, I would encourage you to maybe flip the order that you shared with me
Okay.
and tackle the one that's your least favorite. And
You're
that
right,
would
yeah.
be, that would be the finance. I would say that would be the one to tackle first because it's your least favorite.
Okay.
And that leads me into the second question that I would encourage you to ask yourself is, do you have blocks of time dedicated to completing the systems, these three that you rank as most important? Is that a yes or
Certainly
no?
not. No,
Certainly
no.
not, right, because it's
Yeah.
not your favorite
It's
thing
not.
to do.
If
So
I would rather put out a fire or
Yeah.
do something exciting and creative than
yeah,
give my
because you love
data to their
you
account.
love inspiration. So, couple things I would say, and one of these I actually didn't put in your notes, and I'll say it first because it came to me as I was listening to you talk about how much inspiration is important to you and you're passionate about it. Is find a way to approach these systems and creating these systems that does inspire you. You know, there's something that sparks you when you're doing other types of tasks. So can you transfer that same sense of doing it to these systems that you want to? And I think if you try it out, especially with the financial system that your
gonna-
least
yeah.
favorite is, and it happens, you're going to go, oh, wow, that was actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
I actually felt kind of inspired
Right.
by doing that.
Okay,
So that would be what I'd encourage you to do, because it's easy to, of course, to put off the tasks that we don't find enjoyable. But if you're blocking out time in your calendar, definitely over a 3 to 4 week period of time, and you're honoring that time, you are being more intentional, you're being more focused. Treat that just as if it was a business appointment
Okay.
or an appointment with a customer
Okay.
or sitting down with an employee for a block of time. Honor those times then that you block out. Of course, unless there's some type of emergency
Right.
or urgent thing that is also important. What I want you to evaluate too is to get a little bit deeper. I know I'm a procrastinator too, and I have found that the best thing that helps me is to say, why am I procrastinating about
Right.
this? What is it that you don't enjoy? Is it that you don't feel capable? It's not a strength. Is it that you fear that you might do it incorrectly or you won't do it effectively? You know, whatever it is for you, is to dig deeper and get to the root of that, why you tend to procrastinate
Okay.
and not complete it. It could be that as you said, you'd rather be putting out fires because there's a rush that
Oh,
you
yeah.
get from that. You know, it's kind of exciting. Our adrenaline's pumping. So, again, look for how can you create that same feeling
Okay.
when you're doing something that you don't enjoy instead so much. But make sure those unimportant things aren't filling up your time, or that you're not allowing those
Right.
unimportant things. So journaling, reflecting over how you're spending your time can help. Going back to Stephen Covey's quadrant system and mapping out how much time are you spending in that urgent but not important
Yeah.
instead of important but not
Not
urgent.
urgent, right.
You want to be spending more time there. And it's okay to acknowledge that you might need some help with some of these things, that you might need to outsource. Perhaps find someone who specializes in HR management for small businesses, or the finance piece if that's the piece that you really
Right.
don't enjoy the most. I mentioned this to my guest, Sue Sanders, a few weeks ago, that it's important to prioritize prioritizing.
I remember hearing that.
But I also reminded her that takes up a lot of brain energy, a lot of brain power. So setting those priorities, do that at a point in your day when you feel the most mentally energized
Okay.
and ready for it. It is important to schedule when you choose to prioritize during those times when you're most physically and mentally charged and capable of doing it. So, any questions
Okay.
about that one?
No, it's funny thinking about why do I not like the finance part of it so much? My degree's in finance. Am I, there was a time when I loved that, and making spreadsheets was exciting to me. I didn't
Okay.
even think about that until you said why, do you not feel capable? Well, no, I should remember how to do that. But
Okay,
so maybe I could
yeah,
get
maybe
there was
you
a
can
time
get
I was excited about it.
Yeah, so draw back on that
Okay.
former excitement that you
Okay.
felt about it and tackle that one first.
I will.
I'll be anxious to hear what
Yeah.
happens. Yeah, anxious. So tell me what another growing pain has been.
You know, the second growing pain is attracting the best talent and retaining them once you do attract them. I feel like we have an incredible opportunity. We have a great culture and a team that's excited, and they're very collaborative, everything you would want in a team. So we have all of that. But I also have to be super selective about who comes in to our little family
Absolutely.
and making sure that they're a right fit. And so I struggle sometimes with that, you know, attracting them and making sure that they're the right fit for us.
I imagine there's a lot of competition.
There is, yes. The salon industry in general, there's a shortage of people coming out of school or that stay in business long enough.
Okay.
So there's definitely a shortage. Locally, nationally, it's just a struggle.
Okay. Is there a tendency in the industry for people to try it and then realize it's not really for them, and so
Right.
they drop out?
You know, a friend of mine told me, it's funny, once I said I was opening a salon, how many people were like, oh, yeah, I did that. I did that. I did. And I kept asking, why do you not anymore? What happened? You know, 8 out of 10 people are saying, oh, yeah, I went to cosmetology school. And this is where I think I come in to teach them how to grow a business. It is hard to start, right? Fresh out of school. They need the support. So maybe there's just a lack of support in the industry in general to get them off to that good start. And then, you know, the other side of the coin is maybe people just kind of did it because they didn't know what they wanted to do. I found there's those that were born to do this, and there's those that just do it.
I would imagine that beyond the skill of being able to do the services themselves, that you're looking for someone who's got an entrepreneurial
Yes.
mindset in the first place, right? That
Absolutely.
because you're still running your individual business,
Yes, yes.
even though you're operating within the larger salon. It's your clientele.
Right.
You're responsible for building that and so forth.
That's why we call our team members inspired partners, because they're
love
partnering
that.
with us.
Okay.
You know, I'm
Yes.
not their boss. It's a partnership.
Okay, I love that. Well, I think that's going to answer one of the questions that I'm going
Okay.
to get to in just a moment. But when you look at attracting talent to your business, it's especially when you're selectively seeking, it's really pretty much the same as attracting a particular customer.
Okay.
So look at it the same way. Attracting talent requires its own marketing strategy.
Right.
Just like you have a marketing strategy to attract customers to your business, you need a marketing strategy to attract employees. And it needs to be tailored specifically to that employee target audience that you're seeking. So your marketing mix should be developed with a couple of things in mind. What is your distinctive employer brand? Actually describing that in the most clear, compelling way possible, because that's going to play into your messaging strategy that's part of this marketing that you're going to do to attract talent. And secondly, building an employee profile. Because it's just like building a target market profile. You need to know the demographics, the psychographics, where do they live, what music do they listen to, what hobbies and activities are they involved in? Do they tend to be single or married or just starting a family? Build that profile in every way that you can, because that's going to give you insight into what's going to resonate the most with that employee audience that you're trying to attract, so that they see Inspired Style as a place where they want to work. You're looking for the best places to be able to connect then with that target employee audience that you've done the profile on. So this is the question you've answered for me somewhat, is what sets Inspired Style apart from other places to work?
Well, I think it is because it's a partnership
Okay.
with me, with someone that can help them develop the business that they want. And
Okay.
recognizing that that is a very individual experience. You know, some people want to work 60, 70 hours a week. Some
Okay.
people want to work 15.
Okay.
And creating an environment where we support all of those things and everybody wins in that. So I think that kind of, you know, I want to attract those kind of people.
Well, one of the things that helps, and I've talked about that on this program before, I know you heard it from me in my branding workshop, that you need a clear why. You know, what is the why that this business exists? And especially, what's the why that the audience you're trying to reach would find compelling?
Okay.
You know, as much as we think people are just in it for the money, yes, you know, they don't want to come into a place where they're not going to make any money.
Right,
That
right.
would be foolish, of course. But people still want to have that compelling why. And I think the other thing that would be important for you that is associated with the branding piece too is to know what the current perceptions are about what it's like to work at your business.
Okay.
What are people saying? What are your employees telling other people about what it's like to work there? Do you know? Do you know what those general perceptions are? That's good to know. And then the second question you need to ask yourself is, how would you describe your ideal employee? You
Okay.
know, actually build that profile in every way that you can. That's the key. Those two things are really key to, in my opinion, to being able to attract the talent that you're selectively seeking.
Okay.
So treat it like a target audience, build a marketing strategy that's tailored to that target audience, and really describe your compelling distinctiveness as a place to work, your why,
Okay.
and understanding that ideal employee. When you look at retaining talent, it's also very similar to retaining customers. You know, whether you're talking about employees or customers, everybody wants to be treated with respect, they want to be valued, they want to be appreciated. And it sounds like you intuitively know that. You're building a culture and a work environment that supports those types of things. What's different, in my opinion, for employees is yes, they want the money, as I mentioned. They want a paycheck. They want something steady, something consistent. I think that entrepreneurial quality that I'm saying you're seeking in people is really important to tap into as well, because I think that's the person who's also looking to make a difference with the work that
Absolutely.
they do. Isn't that why you started
It is.
the
Yes.
business, right? So, how can you show your current employees that that's part of their employee experience is that they actually get to make a difference in the work that they do. Maybe they don't clearly see that. You know, yes, it's helping someone feel better about themselves. Maybe it's helping someone find just the right style for them. But is it maybe more than that? Because honestly, those are somewhat the same really with any salon. So
It
it's
is.
constantly striving for what are those distinctive factors
Okay.
that really make your business unique as a place to work.
Okay.
There are some other questions to ask under the retaining talent category. Do your employees know the bigger vision and mission for the business? Do the people already working for you know your why and find that compelling? On the flip side of that, do you know what your employees' dreams and visions are for their futures and where they want to go? It sounds like you probably
Yeah,
do.
I do. We spend a lot of time talking about that.
And that's great. Those are the stories that make up the culture of your business that's unique. Those are the stories that you could have your current employees share.
Okay.
Share their story of what it's like to be an employee there,
Okay.
what difference it's making for them. They could do little Facebook Live videos. You know, there's so many ways that they could do
Right.
it. But the important thing is help them, coach them through telling those stories, whether they're out talking to friends and family that maybe might be a way to also attract new talent. So
Yes,
you're
absolutely.
serving both purposes there. You're helping your current employees remind themselves why they're there, why they find it a great place to work, but they're also telling their story, and so that could help you attract.
I love that idea.
I'm guessing my question 3 here, are there values and principles in place that shape and guide the organizational culture in the workplace environment? I'm guessing that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when I say what's the difference between the two, just for the viewers' purposes here, values, of course, are what influence our beliefs. Principles themselves are what spells out the behaviors associated with those values.
Okay.
So it's one thing to say we value integrity, but what does that mean for this particular business? That's important.
Well, it's funny because that actually brings me to our third growing pain. Our most, I guess, our most important value is work-life balance, which that elusive work-life balance that everybody talks about. And I struggle with that myself. I want to make sure I set a good example for my team of we work when we work and we're home when we're home. And if that means you need to take off in the middle of the day because your kid has a spelling bee or whatever, that's what we do. That's the most important thing. And making sure that I can turn it off and turn it on when I need to. So I do want to set a really good example for my team, and that is a core value of ours.
That's so admirable, and I really love that you're doing that. Well, it's elusive because it's a myth. Okay, I talked about this a couple shows ago. So one of the things I've learned is it's not about balancing because that denotes that it has to be equal. What I want to do instead is to harmonize all of the parts of my life. Because otherwise I'm going to feel some resentment when I'm pulled more in this direction and I know that I need to be over here, and so it is hard to turn that off. So I've given you some questions to ask yourself, where do you want and need to be spending your time? What feels out of sync and is a distraction? Can you close that loop and allow yourself to move on? Do you have time set aside to reflect on how you can do a different job of harmonizing all the parts of your life? And what's your planning time frame? Do you only plan one day at a time? Do you look out a week ahead? Do you look out a month ahead? The ideal is a month minimum. And actually planning out where are you plugging in all of the parts of your life, because otherwise, we're not realistic and we can be overwhelmed. And I've talked about mindfulness meditation. You've been to one of my programs I did for NABO. I'm going to remind our viewers again and remind you too, Michelle, that that's a way to eliminate self-judgment when you're going, oh, I should be doing this when I'm sitting here watching something on Netflix. It's about building your present moment awareness and strengthening it. So before we leave, I want to thank you, though, for being our guest this morning, my guest this morning. Tell our viewers how they can get in touch with you and how they can reach more information about Inspired Style.
Well, Inspired is located in Sunset Plaza in Pekin, and if you go to myinspiredstyle.com, there's links to book an appointment, all the services and products that we offer, and any upcoming events that we'll be doing. It's a great resource for you.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for being here this morning. We're going to close out our month of May next Tuesday, May the 29th, with continuing our theme, closing out the theme of growing pains of a startup. My guest will be Melody Norton. Melody is very unique in that she has a couple of things she does. She is founder of Captured Business, which is website development, and Captured by Melody. She does professional photography work. So remember, you can find Business Minds on Facebook. Like, follow, and comment. Email me, businessminds@email.com. I always am looking for your comments, your suggestions, and I just thank you so much for tuning in today. Thanks again to Michelle Bohm for being my very special guest. So great to hear about her business. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
PeoriaLife.com